and blessed unity with the L-O-V-E. Love is the solution, so set your love free with the L-O-V-E. Further evolution and blessed unity.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Self-Love Show on this beautiful Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I am your host, just single host today, Trish Wright. And let's sprinkle some love to my co-host, Dawn Light, out in the world where she's at. Today, I am wildly excited to share someone that I've been not only following and admiring and just maybe like secretly stalking for a little while now. Someone who I have deep admiration for, Shawnree Nato, and who's a sensual intelligence author and guide. Hi, Shawnree.
Hi.
Read the description of the show and your bios so that everyone who's listening to this right now can understand what we're doing here. So in this workshop or in this show, we'll create a container to recalibrate our mind, body, heart connections, harness and reclaim the wisdom of our sensual intelligence so we can feel what it is like to move shamelessly, lovingly, and fully expressed. It has never been more important to connect to our bodies and pleasure. Shameless Self-Love Expression is an interactive embodiment workshop that helps you increase and tap into your sensual intelligence. Sensual intelligence is the artful knowledge of embodied feeling and being. Oh, yum. We will reclaim and embody the wisdom of our primal bodies, which get shamed into the shadows using movement, sounds, and embodiment play. Tap in to and listen to the body's wisdom, connect to pleasure as medicine and nourishment, explore embodied self-love and expression at a physical, emotional, and community level. So here's a little bit about Shawnree. Shawnree is, how, am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Shawnree is the sensual intelligence and embodiment guide, teaching and inspiring people to embody their joy, pleasure, and self-love. She is the author of the already published book, Sensual Intelligence, The Lost IQ, where she leads us through the journey of discovering our sensual intelligence type. She blends 15 years of dance and performance art, erotic poetry, sensual intimacy coaching, mindfulness, and nude live art modeling to connect mind, body, spirit, and pleasure. It is time to heal cycles of shame and suppression so that we can find the joy we've always desired. She believes that we can change the world starting with our relationships with our own bodies. And you can find her teachings and performances on Instagram, Shawnree Nato, at Shawnree Nato, and her website at shawnree.com, SHAWNREY. Or get on her mailing list and we will type in all of those things. You can find her book almost everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, Shawnree.
Yay.
How I would love to start. I'm feeling myself drawn to some pretty feisty conversation because that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if that's where I want to start. I kind of want to start there. Yeah, I want to start there. So part of my practice as a female white presenting person
Mm-hmm.
is to really look at some really strong things, like how did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the pieces that I'm bringing into the world is a lot of this decolonization work.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm reading your bio and I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading the description of this show, is that I'm understanding, and this is also part of my teaching, is that our disconnection from our bodies, our hate, the way that we part ourselves out, like, oh, I've got this roll here, or a straight eyebrow, or I got this like one little like thing that kind of grows everywhere, like these places where we part ourselves out is part of the systems, the patriarchal white supremacy system that has us playing into the self-hate.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for you, I know I'm not sorry, y'all, on who's watching, but this is really where it comes from. I just spent a week with people who are gorgeous, like very healthy bodies, who are deeply shamed about their bodies, deeply, deeply shamed and deeply insecure. And it fucking pains me to see how kind of like traumatized. And I'm like, wow, you're beautiful. You have this like vibrant sexuality and this gorgeous body, like in whatever shape and whatever. Who taught you that? Who taught you that? How to not love yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit more about how you got to erotic intelligence and how you feel that this is going to change the world.
Yeah, I love that so much. You brought in so many different pieces, but it's really cool is that they're all totally interconnected. And so first, the definition of sensual intelligence is the embodied, artful knowledge of feeling and being. And one thing I talk about, I mean, my book is called Sensual Intelligence, The Lost IQ. And I talk about, it's called The Lost IQ because how it got lost: colonization, patriarchy, et cetera, that created systems of self-hatred, of denial and departure from the body and departure from our, from our innate ways of being. And this was done. What's really interesting is that, you talk about like, how, where did it come from? Where did the self-hate come from? If you're, you're physically beautiful, or, if you're physically beautiful, you're privileged and you have all these different things, you have all these different opportunities, et cetera. Why, how is that even possible? And so that's one thing. And then for me, like, I think part of the reason why I was able to, go through this looking, go through this spelunking of, how we lost sensual intelligence, how we lost a connection to the bodies, because I talk about this in the book, and I also talk about, is for me as a Black woman, I grew up in a society that does not value, does not value this body and how it is. And yes, it's just like the system is created, for, in that way. And so, but I also know that, I'm like, physically attractive, et cetera. And I felt, so for me, like I always had to create within myself my own sense of self-worth, because it wasn't spoken out, it wasn't spoken out to me, it wasn't reaffirmed to me, outwards. And so I had like an immediate, like, look at like, okay, this is what society says, but then this is how I feel. If I keep on listening to what society says about me, then it's going to diminish me and make me smaller. And so that's one thing, but there's like a little bit more. For me, what I really feel is that in order for capitalism, patriarchy, et cetera, to continue, and to live, to be, in this country, they had to, I mean, there's genocide, there was slavery, there was suppression. And in order to kill a lot of people, in order to enslave people, you have to fundamentally divorce yourself from your humanity. In order to continue that system, you have to put things in place in order to make people divorce themselves from their bodies, from their sensuality, from their pleasure. African Americans, Black folks who were slaves were not allowed to have pleasure. If you had pleasure, then you would be like, oh, there's pleasure is freedom of expression, is being myself, is being a sovereign being. And so if you showed that, then you wouldn't be the hard worker that you needed to be. So that's like the foundation of, of America, of our society, of our capitalism, which then, is super profitable. It's super profitable to, like, have people disconnected from themselves. It's also profitable in money, but deteriorates in terms of, like, in humanity, in social systems. So then you have this, have our society now, which is built on this foundation of people having to suppress their pleasure, suppress their connection to their bodies, which created profit. And now we're still doing that same thing. We're still operating from that, because that's what, that's kind of what brought us here. And what would happen, what would shift if people were allowed to connect with their bodies, connect with their pleasure. It's something that is so radically different, that it's actually terrifying. It's just like it's terrifying to try to imagine something like that. It's because we've never done it before. Doesn't mean that it's not possible, and it doesn't mean that it won't create something incredible. It'll create something that's connected to the environment, that's connected to the earth, that's connected to each other. But it's not something that we've experienced en masse. So that's like,
I hope you all took that in.
I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot.
No,
Sorry.
it can be a lot. This is what I love about this particular show, is that we invite what's real and alive for not only us, but what's happening in the world. And our commitment to being a more loving entity is this. Like, this is it. I took a note, and I just want to read this. No, I really think I'm going to start with a question, actually. So, everyone who's listening and watching right now, and people who are listening to the replay, watching the replay, I invite you to ask this question to yourself and sit with it in your body. Like, and because I can't hear you, and maybe you'll be listening to it alone, and even if you're not, I invite you to say what you're feeling out loud, because this is important. When you think about some of the things that you enjoy, or that you desire, or that you long for, that are naturally attractive to you, do you feel shame? Now keep exploring out a little bit until you find something that you're like, oh God, I can't believe I like that. Maybe you like feet or ears, or or maybe you like to rub up against trees. Like, is there something in your life, and it doesn't even have to be sexual, like, is there something that you literally enjoy that you feel shame about? That's exactly what we're talking about, is this place where you shut down your pleasure, your desire. Great. So when you said divorce themselves from their humanity, so to continue to participate in this system, the most radical thing that you can do is love yourself. And not like egotistically love yourself. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm so beautiful. But like, as in like, wow, this icky part that I have literally, now that I look back, my mom had it, my grandmother had it, her grandmother had it. Like, it's a ancestral wounding. I'm, if you look back in history, you can start to see where being a woman became a negative, where you became property of your husband, hence the last name, so that he could pass his wealth and land down. He became an ownership of the woman.
Yeah.
That's why you have this slut shaming piece, where if you've had multiple partners, that you are now degraded in some kind. So when you start to look at these pieces inside of you that you judge yourself or others about, ask yourself, is it mine? Is it a social belief? How far back does it go? What is it giving you? I mean, if you want to not dissolve yourself or divorce yourself from your humanity, finding compassion for those places, being in your pleasure, like finding empathy for your desire for whatever it might be, and to build community around it. Like, these are really important pieces of embodying shameless self-love. And am I clear in saying, or sort of asking, that this idea of sensual intelligence is not about sexuality? It's about the embodiment of. So what we're taught is to disembody, to not connect to self, to not connect to feelings or sensations in the body, which forced us from our intuition. And then we're stuck. Like, there's a certain point in history. I know I'm totally going off right now. There's a certain point in history where we sort of started to value this intellectual white male perspective. Like, this is where, the philosophers and Christianity and Catholicism, like, we start to like, oh, the head became, I think therefore I am. And we started to like bow down and worship this place, which most of these thoughts and most of these places were really rooted in some dehumanizing thought processes of class, race, gender, like these systems of degradation. So when we come back into separating ourselves, when we look at that again and we're like, oh, when can we re-embody it? When can we come back into the connection? That's why I think so many people love yoga. Is finally find your body, even though there's some egotistical places where this like yoga has fallen into. I think that's one of the reasons why people are like, oh, yoga. I feel my body.
Yeah.
There's a question in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's interesting, because like for me, like any of the classes that I've taught, like, I mean, I've taken yoga, and I'm a dancer as well. And one like that is like for me, that's like the magic phrase with anyone is like, oh, I feel myself. I mean, it's just, and it's so beautiful. That's why I know, if something is lost, it's like, they the looks on their faces, and like, when they're looking at their bodies, they're feeling their bodies, it's like it's a literal finding of themselves. And it is like, for me, it's like one of the most beautiful things that, that I ever get to witness in doing this work is when someone's like, I feel myself, or I'm soft, or I'm this, or I'm that. And they're just like, it's just like this pure, essential, just innocent wonder at their own being. Yeah. Yeah.
When did pleasure become not innocent? I mean, like you know what I'm talking about? It's like
Yeah.
your desire and your pleasure is so innocent in some ways. Like, you really get to the core of it. Like, that's one of the most pure, authentic places you can be innocent. Like, Shine, you are like amazing, and your smile, and I'm just magnetized to it. And when did it become consumptive? When did it become like a thing to be forced?
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's interesting, you talked about earlier about, about shame. And
Yeah.
shame is essentially internalized oppression.
Yes.
And so, you have like, there's all these different rules and things about, essentially like, how to belong, how to be loved, how to be acceptable. And so, I mean, like, it really actually comes from something so, so simple. I mean, here we are, like these beautiful innocent beings that are just like being in the world. And we come out, we're like, everyone's like giving us love, they're taking care of us, etc. Then at some point, some point in society or whatever, it's just like, okay, you've got, you've been cared for, you've been taken care of, and now, you have to, you have to do these things in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, in order to be acceptable. And any time that, if we're doing something like as children, etc., that is just natural. And then, then we're told, don't do that. That's not what boys do. That's not what girls do. That's not what good girls do. That's not what good boys do. That's not, that's not right here. There is, that's when we take in that information, and then it starts shaping us, and we do it for survival. We do it for survival. And so, I mean, like, so my heart goes out to, to all of us who are who are feeling shamed, or who are actually even feeling judgment, around other people, because it's literally, we have internalized a message that we then participated in because we needed to and wanted to survive, wanted to be
Yes.
accepted. We needed that. Without that, we would die.
Yes.
And so now that's why it's so important, for us to come back to, it's I talk about, this is a reclaiming. This is a reclaiming of the parts that we had to let go, that we let go, because that's how we thought that we were going to be accepted and loved. And so now, like, in this reclaiming, that is how, when we reclaim, that is when we can then pass that gift down to others. Like right now, what happened. So now we're in the reclaiming, and we do the reclaiming, and then we gift it forward, so others don't have to do so much of the reclaiming. We literally we create a different world when we
Yes.
come from our reclaimed sensual selves.
Yes.
Mhm.
Embodiment for the win.
Ah! Yeah.
Oh, I love this conversation. It makes me feel like I'm feeling in my chest really warm, and it feels like a relaxation. Like, oh, this is so the work. And I really truly believe in this work. I'm Gestalt. I'm a dancing Gestalt, um, certified sex coach. I do all of these things, and I'm really working
Mhm.
with people who are severely codependent. It's one of my specialties, because I was.
Mhm. Mhm.
And just how disconnected people are with their needs and their wants and their desires,
Yeah.
and the strategies
Mhm.
developed to get their needs met.
Right.
I mean, just to share vulnerably, and I invite you to share a couple pieces too, is like, what are some of the early, before you had the understanding of what it looks like to actually step into your body
Yeah.
and to be honest, like honesty, like radical honesty without brutality, is
Mhm.
is actually one of those pieces. Is like, can I be honest and be safe? How much have we contorted? Like, no, this doesn't feel good to my body, but I'm going to say yes. How many times have you faked an orgasm, or how many times
Mm.
have, and some of the places that I didn't feel safe to even be in my body
Mhm.
around sensuality, was
Mhm.
around dancing, was around
Mm.
eating. I mean, there's a lot of things where we have literally like learned to protect ourselves. I
Yeah.
remember my mother saying, "Suck it in," as a child. And I was like, now
Mm.
I'm like, but that's my body. This is like my belly and I love it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
taken me a long time to dissolve that programming.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and this is the importance of why sensual intelligence and embodiment and dissolving these harmful narratives, because I could say so many things. I could say
Yeah.
words for this, but it is harmful narratives. Is like when you actually choose
Yeah.
to look at the part where you're either judging yourself or others, where you're looking at it,
Absolutely.
you're like, here's my shadow,
Yep.
and I don't like the crooked tooth, or the
Uh-huh.
or whatever, like you name it, the thought that
Mhm.
I had, or this desire that I had, or
Mhm.
just look at it and you find yourself in compassion for it.
Yeah.
Oh, you want cheese on your, gosh. Hold on, hold on, hold on. On your your strawberries. It could be literally anybody. People have crazy shame stories
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
everything, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I want cheese on my this, and I live in a community of vegans.
Oh.
So I mean, if you just look at it and be like, that's what I want, to name it,
Yeah.
to name the
Yep.
sensation, and actually
Yep.
to even just naming it. That's why I had you name it. It's like
Mhm.
right there. I want that.
Yeah.
To feel that in my body, to actually express it out, to be
Mhm.
seen in that. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
So important that this work is here and present and
Mhm.
alive.
Mhm.
And thank you for being
Mhm.
like courageous and brave and just showing up for everyone. Oh, now you're crave. Oh, wait, here's something funny.
Strawberry cheesecake.
You know, Randall's amazing. Um,
Mm.
I'm curious about what you're a really big, fierce stand for. Like what makes you get up every day and do this work? And don't get me wrong, my thought here, because I know that my work is like I have to choose every day. It's not
Mm.
easy work. There's other
Yeah,
things that I could be doing that's way fucking easier.
yeah,
Now, to make sometimes I have to be like, okay, humans are good and I'm good and we're gonna keep doing the work. That it's like what's the drive and the passion and the juice for you? What
yeah.
keeps you getting up every day and what keeps you
Mhm.
pushing forward against the wind?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. For me, honestly, it's joy.
Yeah.
Um, it is. I mean, for me, like my own personal joy. I mean, I suffered from chronic depression for many, many years in my life. Um, and for me, joy is something that I fight for and that I fight for, that I work for, that I do things for every single day.
Mm,
It's not something that's just like, so that's, people are always like, oh, Shauna, you're just like, you're smiling all the time. It's like, and that's on purpose. That is worked for. That is very, that's very conscious. And the reason why, part of the reason why is because I know how powerful it is
mm.
when we see others enjoy in
Yes.
their bodies. For me, like one of the biggest things that there are two things that happened. When I was 17 or 18, my mom and I were driving down the street. This is in Arkansas, in Little Rock, and coming towards us was this black man, and he was just walking down the street, and he had the most beautiful, incredible, beatific smile and presence about him that I've ever seen. And he would, and he, we're in Arkansas. This is like, it's a time where, where it's not, to be in the South, a black man, just like, just walking alone, it's not a thing that's like, and the kind of smile that he had and the presence that he had was such pure joy. And literally, like, he felt like an angel walking towards us, and I felt him. My mother felt him. Literally, I am like, this is 20 years later, we still talk about him, and that literal 1 to 2 seconds of seeing him fully embodied, fully enjoy, it impacted us, and it changed my life. It changed both of our lives. And so for me, I you for me, I know that I can be a walking banner of hope, of change, of beauty, of joy, of life for someone just by being. And so that's the reason why, and I know that every single one of us can be that, and we can be that when we are able to connect with our bodies, with our joy, with ourselves, and just be. We can change the world by just being. We don't have to do anything. You just literally just like be walking down the street and be hope for someone.
Mhm.
So that's the reason why I do it. I mean, I have to do it for myself every single day as a reminder, because I know that I could change someone's life just by being, and all of us can as well. And I want us to all be that gift.
Can I share a story? A personal
Yeah.
it's perfect. So I went to this really highly triggering week-long workshop recently, and I've done a lot of this process work internally, and so not only have I taken this workshop before, but I've also been doing a decolonization workshop. I've taken it twice, and I'm just feeling my body all the time. And not only that, but I'm also in a embodied gestalt workshop where I dance and feel like it's all my whole life is revolving around embodiment.
Mhm.
And so while I was there, I can say honestly, I'm not the most, I fit into certain intersections, right? So the privileges that I hold is that I'm blonde, I'm a woman, I'm a white woman, and I've got a lot of the stereotypical beauty standard thing that happens that we're taught to like. But I also carry a little bit of weight. I'm not a thin person. why would I want to do that? Like these are all systems that I've been looking at. But so I'm really free. Like I'm really free in my body. I'm really expressive. And I'm at this week-long workshop, and there's a lot of just like in wild, beautiful yoginis, like very, very white, very thin, and very strong, and very like Instagram influencers type. And through the week, I don't have the shame. I don't carry the shame anymore. I don't carry the weight of this like oppressive viewpoint. So I am like, woo, like enjoying my body and doing the thing. I'm in Costa Rica. I'm having a fabulous time. My body feels good. And I'm like dancing and rolling around on the floor like an animal. I'm growling, I'm just like having fun. Like
Yeah.
like, this is gonna wear out eventually, so I'm just enjoying it while I got it. And, I share from my heart. I'm very, I don't want to play into the story very often. So anybody who doesn't understand what story is when you like hash up all this like make up stories about Shanri and her interaction and like my projections on her, like that's a story. So I'm very like succinct in what how I share from my body, the sensations. And something that happened that I'm kind of like, whoa, is that I can't even count how many people out of this like group of 55 people came up to me and was like, "Thank you for being yourself."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I was like, at some point it was so much for me to actually just like however many people came and I was like, I don't know what to say anymore. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to be egotistical and say, well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm just not carrying the filter of shame that you are. Like it
Yeah.
really boils down to that. I'm
Yep.
not carrying that anymore.
Yeah.
And it was a phenomenal experience to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I just
Yeah.
wanted to say that.
Yeah. And then, and that's exactly what I'm speaking about. I mean, when the more
Yes.
people that we have that are able to do that, and it's really interesting. I mean, not to the what we tend to associate is like, well, if you're completely free, but then you're also like, extra free, like, you're completely you're completely outside of like the norms of society, and therefore you're not accepted, you're not, blah blah. People are scared of that. They immediately equate freedom and freedom of expression, as in like, totally just like disconnected. And in some ways, like what I teach is like a way to, how can you be free? How can you be free, but then also like, be connected? I mean, if our society shows freedom and insanity or whatever, as equal, I mean, just divergence of, divergence of neurology as like, as something that's bad, then then people are like, they don't want to do that, because it's like, oh, then I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be safe, I'm not going to be okay. And so then being able to see people who are just like, we're just alive, we're just alive, um and and doing our things, enjoying ourselves, and and connecting honestly on different levels. We're able to connect, on like a casual level, able to connect on like, like a level. And and that's just like, I think like, what you're doing, what you're being is like literally just like being on all the different, in many different dimensions, many different levels, connecting with people. When most people, they'll block off all these parts of themselves in order to appear connected, instead of like, actually being it. And so that's like the whole point. It's the whole point of embodiment, to actually allow ourselves to, it's like to tap into that amazing wisdom and, and tool that we have for, for being. It's like, this is like a fun vessel, a fun vessel. Why not get to know it? Why not share it?
I just want to come back to that place of I've been thinking a lot about how to not continue to participate in white supremacy culture.
Mhm.
And it's really hard. And a couple of the pieces that I got is really just this. If I can show up in my body, in my pleasure, and in my innocence, then this is an actual choosing to no longer play the game.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I really feel like, that's, connection to our body, sensuality it's a revolutionary and evolutionary act because it goes in the face of, without being like, honestly, I'm like, in the face, I'm like, that actually is like, it's a little bit playing and, playing into it because it's still it's still the same energy. But when you're actually like, going in a different energy, it also, it's like, it's called, compassion and play, sensuality, embodiment, all these different things that, that actually see people. It's like, okay, I see you and I'm doing this and I'm feeling this, that's so opposite of what we've been taught and of what, what will keep what keeps all these different systems going. And it's really funny because it's like so simple, but that's also like, what's really beautiful about it, the simplicity.
Oh, what did oh. So in the workshop, I'm gonna butcher it and I'm so sorry. There
Okay.
is one of oh gosh, I really one of the things that one of the facilitators shared that that I want to say in Hebrew, correct me if I'm wrong, whoever's listening, correct me if I'm wrong, that in Hebrew there's this prayer that means to be simple or to be naked, to be simple without the clothing. And we shared a lot of time around, if you spend any amount of time in nude resorts or like Harbin Hot Springs or places where there's a lot of people being just very free, what you start to notice is that everybody, like, I have never seen a similar body, like ever. Like I've spent years at these places and I've never seen a body that's exactly the same. And what happens to your brain is that it no longer you no longer start to sexualize people and you no longer feel sexualized because that's also part of the system is that we consume or we objectify other people, so that when you start to see other bodies and when you start to feel more comfortable in your body, then you stop playing into that system. You stop playing into the place where you're like consuming another person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. For me, like that's honestly the reason why, for me, why I focus on sensuality. It's just honestly, sensuality is just like it's a step towards us being able to be with, to be with the senses, to be with the body in all of its expressions and all of its forms. That's not just the one, not just sexual. Sex is awesome, sex is beautiful, sex is amazing. It's not the only end all be all of the body,
And it's
period.
not also it's not the entire thing of sensuality.
Exactly. And so that's one thing. And then also like, totally like, going to nude Harbin Hot Springs and other places like that. That's also when I talked about in my bio, I talk about nude art modeling. I that is one of the most, that was one of the most healing things to participate in because and that's the reason why I even talk about that say that sensuality is the artful embodied, the artful embodied knowledge of feeling and being.
Oh,
Because
say it again.
the and sensual intelligence is the artful embodied knowledge of feeling and being. Um, because art is very important because when with art is how we creatively interact with the world, how we
Yes.
creatively interact with ourselves. And for me, like that was so shown to me, like being an art model. I was a body, I was a naked body, and they saw all the wrinkles and the crinkles and the hairs and the things, and they were just like, oh, look at the shadow, look at this curve, look. And they loved all the different bodies. They wanted the big bodies and they wanted the old bodies. They wanted the young, like they're like, we don't want all the young bodies, is because, I mean, it's like we want to be able to experience something different. And it was just such a beautiful honoring of just being a body. And then, and then taking it to the next level of like, and then how we can all be art. And sensual intelligence is like, really be, how is my body? How's this vessel, this being, an artful expression? How do I get to creatively interact with the world? How do we do this? Is to be like, really being with that smell, or really feeling the touch of this thing, or like feeling, the smell of that. That is like, how do you create art with your body, with your life, with, with who you're being, with your interactions.
Can we talk a little bit about ageism for a second?
Ah. Mm-hmm.
So I went to this retreat. I know I'm still processing it, so
Oh, yeah,
thanks for being here with me. I went to this retreat with my friend who's I don't know how old he is, 60 something year old, very tall, very kind, safe, gentle, older white male. And he had a very different experience than I did. And he felt very like he had a lot of projections on him that he was the creepy grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And I was deeply touched by that experience. And I was like, oh, what we do, what we do to other people, how we
Right.
other them, how we disembody them, how we shame them for the things that we can't. He doesn't have a choice. He's in a slowly oxidizing skin suit, just like us all. So
Mm-hmm.
so as we age, we start to shame ourselves in that place as well. So I'd love for
Mm-hmm.
you to talk about, if you want to, about the sensuality or the embodiment of an aging body. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
how,
Yeah. I mean, so for me, and like, and there's, and just to be an honoring, like, I know that my experience my experience with any bodies, aging, pregnant, otherly abled, um, different color, different, all these different things. I really, I really bring the same thing across the board of paying attention to the to sensual, paying attention to senses of that. And the reason why is because I know that I can't ever, um, especially right now, in this body right now, I can't experience, and I can't experience another kind of body.
yes.
I can't put my words or my voice into that. And so, but for me, when I'm teaching, and I think that the importance of, one thing that I can do, that I can share with everyone, is whatever body it is that you have. When we, let's say, like, with touch. So my body has these, let's say the things that we shame, or
Mhm.
that get shamed, or that get judged, or whatever. All of that is a story that has been put in front of the experience of yourself.
Mhm.
Sensuality is just the experience, of something. It is curiosity, it is openness, it is exploration. The judgment is when you close that thing down, when when you create stories, and etc., which then breaks down, which then does not allow us to be in curiosity, to be in exploration, to be in, oh, what is, what if, what is. Um and for me, like, how I, because for me, I also used to, I mean, when I did massage,
Mhm.
and I touched all the different kinds of bodies,
Mhm.
and smelled all the different kinds of bodies, and
Mhm.
listened to, and in that, I developed just an appreciation for the process, for the process of being present with someone, without the judgment, but with the curiosity. So feeling, being in awe, or being in amazement of, like, the different texture of, skin as it's slowly separating from the muscles, to be like, oh my gosh, that's so soft, that's so, and not like, actually be with it as it is, be with ourselves as it is, rather than as we think it should be, rather as someone says it should be, whether da 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 da. That's the beauty of sensuality. That's the beauty of it. And that's why it doesn't matter what the fuck body is, or how it looks like. If you're bringing curiosity to it, and you're bringing presence to it, that is the gift. So,
Thank
yeah.
you.
hmm So that's not a way to avoid answering that question. It's a way of like really like that literally is the process. And I feel like that's part of why, why when we go into spaces, anyone goes into spaces and has like, like ageism, et cetera, it's because we have not opened ourselves to curiosity. We haven't opened ourselves to actually being with something as it is.
Shanri, my definition of love, because I really had to do a lot of exploration and dissolve what I thought was love, which is also, I mean, just think about whoever's watching and listening, what is your definition of love? And so what I've learned is that a lot of cultures believe that love is sacrifice. And I was like, is that true? That's how we get into a codependent society. I mean, one of the many reasons. And I was like, what is love? Like for me, and this is my definition. Everyone has their own definition, but for me, is the radical acceptance of what is. Can I be with you and love you? I love you. And just radically accept you in the moment. You are a human being. You've got all the things. And if I love you deep enough, if I love you openly enough, you will likely trigger the shit out of me. And I invite that because I know that it's not you. It's me, that I'm still hurting and harming with things that aren't even mine. Can I radically accept you? And can I radically accept me? So
hmm
I'd love to hear a little bit about what you wanted to share with our people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so one thing, you already did so many beautiful things with it, but with shameless self-love, I just want to say this really quickly that shame shame like literally like warps and turns and like like moves our bodies in ways in order to fix it, in order to shape it into into what we think that we need to have or what we think that the world says we should be. And this today is like going to be like a really short exploration of what it will be like to actually be in shameless self-love. So before I do that, I just want to read something really quickly that I wrote in my book. Let's see if y'all can see it. Yeah, shameless self-love. I just want to read this poem to you really quickly. And in my reading of it, I don't want to just just don't just sit there and be like, oh, okay, that's a nice poem. I invite you to actually to move with it, to move with this, because yeah, all of this is about embodiment. All this is about exploring ourselves, self love, and then I will guide you. I'll guide you through this. But first, go ahead and close your eyes. And any of the words that happen, any of the words that you hear, don't just hear them, like actually be like, feel them, allow them to move your body. When you hear a word, like, if like something in your heart lights up or something tightens up, go ahead and allow yourself to do and be all of that. I'm just going to read this poem. And then later, I'm going to like take you through an even deeper exploration of this so that you can like feel like how do I actually embody shameless self-love? So here's this poem. It's called In the Shadows. So go ahead and close your eyes and allow your body to move, allow your breath to hitch, allow your breath to hold, allow your body to do what it needs to do to dance with and be with this poem. In the shadows. I've seen it. I've seen the other side of myself, of my darkness, of those parts of myself that I put in the shadows, those parts that I hide to keep myself safe, to keep others safe. I have found and looked into these places of hiding and guarding and suppressing and have felt their dark hunger, tearing down our psyche, poisoning our lineages, and souring our hearts. For what? To be accepted into something that I did not make, that I did not choose, that did not choose me? Tonight, today, we unwind. We unwind from the constraints that we thought kept us safe, but have really kept us hostage. We unwind, but we do not forget. We unwind so that we do not suffocate, so that there is space to breathe, to dance, to dance, to dance with the things that we have kept in the shadows. And so, with that, I want you to just go ahead and take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it out. Take another deep breath in. And when you are taking that breath in, feel the coolness of the air as it goes into your nose, throat, chest, and belly. Exhale as the air comes out of your belly, chest, throat, out your nose. Do this 2 more times. Feel the coolness of the air as it enters in your body, fresh, renewing. And as you exhale, that exhale is filled with your essence, your breath, your essential nature. Again, inhaling this beautiful breath inside of your body, cleansing, renewing, all new. Exhale. It is warm. That air is warm with your life, with your expression. One more time, deep inhale. All the way down and exhale. It's warm. It is filled with you, your expression. And so now, after doing this breath, we're thinking about shame again, like how shame, crunches your body in certain ways because it's making your natural expression have to fit into certain things. So think about something that you have felt shame around. I could share about something for me that I had gone through. Um, I felt shame. I felt a lot of shame around having herpes. It was something that, I share this because it is something that's, at least in America, very much is a lot of shit that's said about it. And so what ended up happening to me is that I felt like I was unlovable, that I was unwanted. And this literally showed up in every part of my life. It showed up in work. It showed up in relationship. It showed up in my self-expression because I had this story about myself as being unworthy of love. And so I created myself, my body, my interactions with people as oh, please, oh, please, sir, ma'am, person, I'm unworthy. So can you please, can you please love me even though I'm not worthy? And that's how I was in the world for others and for myself. So what is that thing that is, that you feel shamed around, and you'll know it because it'll make it's you can feel it in your body. So the same thing I said, whatever is suffocating, whatever it is that you feel like you need to hide. And what we're going to be doing with that is um, I'm going to lead you through self-loving, through having and being with that part of yourself. So for now, what you're going to do is speak the thing that you're ashamed about and speak it into your palm, both palms. Whisper it here. And after you whisper it, I want you to go ahead and just look at it. Look at it held in your palms. Then to you, to your life, to your relationships. And what we're going to do is, for right now, you're going to hold it up to your ear. Well, actually, first you're going to ask it. You're going to say, what is it that you need? What is it that you want? What is it that you feel? Ask one of those questions, and it could be, it could be any. What is it that you that you feel? What is it that you want? What is it that you need? Need, want, feel. You can ask all three of those questions, or you can just ask one. Ask it. Ask it. Ask it like, holding this thing, holding this piece of shame, holding this part of you as if it is a child, as if it is a baby, as if it is something that is precious. Because in actuality, it is something that is precious. Because it is something that is somehow or another a part of you, that something has happened so that it just got taken out, taken away, and made to feel weird, to not feel accepted or loved, and to just like, it's just like this alone part of yourself. And so we're just going to speak to it, hold it, ask it, what do you need? What do you want? What do you feel? Hold it up to your ear and listen. And whatever it says, hold it up to your hand and say, thank you. And if it needs to say more, hold it back up. And again, say thank you. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take that part and you're going to just hold it up to your heart. Hold it there and say, I see you. I feel you. I hear you. And now we're going to express and move how you need to express and move. So hold it right there in your heart. Let it go inside of your heart. It's just going to be right there. And we're going to go through some movement to express, be, feel with our bodies, with that part, with that shamed part of ourselves right here in our hearts. So with that, let's go to the next step. So one thing that happens is, I'm going to take these earplugs off. Hope you can still hear me. So one thing that happens is shame will will shift and move our bodies in certain positions. And that thing that you just put in your heart, but without being connected to it, is that it has shaped your body in a certain way. It shapes your voice, it shapes your sound. So what we're going to be doing, like what sensuality and sensual intelligence is all about, things that are all about being simple and being with the simplistic thing, being with the simplistic nature of things. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and stand up. And we're standing up in order to really feel our bodies on the ground. I wish I could back it up so you can see me better. So you just really feel your body here and present. See me now? Yes, it's better. So stand up on the ground. Feel your feet on the ground. Open up your legs nice and wide. And you're still feeling this in your heart. Just remember, you're still feeling this thing in your heart. You're going to check right here, check right here. Put your hand to your heart, just get your hand to your heart. What we're going to do is we're going to go deep inhale in. And then you're going to go, ah. You're going to have that be open. We're going to be going through the vowel sounds. The 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 E, the O, and the oo. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to allow that sound to vibrate inside of your body, to vibrate your heart, to vibrate yourself with that shame piece inside of you. The reason why we're doing this is because we're just allowing your body to vibrate, to attune to your whole body, to see what sounds actually need to come out. And so a lot of times we'll we can shape our voices, and we'll shape our bodies. Our shame will make our voice. So a lot of times if you go like, this one's going mouth open wide, go ahead, massage your jaw. Good. And knowing that the movement and dexterity of the jaw is similar and connected to the movement and the dexterity of the hips and the genitals. So if your jaw is tight, and likely, the hips are tight, the yoni is tight, the ass is tight. And so you have like this tightened channel of not expressing. And so what we're going to be doing is opening the mouth, making sure you get like yourself, like it's nice. But also feeling that right here, also feeling that down in your hips, down in your genitals, down in your ass. We're going to do that sound just like that 2 more times. But then after that, let's just go ahead and inhale in. And one more time. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit to it. So there's this thing that we can do when we get into yoga class and we get into many places is we'll do the sound or do the noise or do the movement or whatever in the right way. And what sensual intelligence is about, and what shameless self-love, embodying shameless self-love, is embodying what your sound and what your body need and want to do. You're not always going to be like, spring and roses and da 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 da. Sometimes your is going to be like this. And that is perfect. And that is what we need to allow to happen, because that is in the resonance of your pure natural self-expression. And we're going to be in this, and just like allowing yourself to actually feel the vibration, feel the expression of your natural way that you want to make that sound. And so we're going to do it 3 more times, that sound, and it could be 3 different ways, or it can be all in the same way. But it's just going to be like but just be in this the general movement is arms open like this. But if your arms need to go like like that, then do that. If your arms need to go like this, then do that. If they need to go fast, they need to go slow. But just allow the same and the same general motion of this, but allow it to express exactly how it needs to express, how it needs to be. So we're going to do this 3 times. I'm going to do my own version. I invite you to do yours however you want to, however you need to. Okay, deep breath in. Another breath in. And last breath in. Good. And now next we're going to go to the next vowel sound. Just feel this. You feel this in your body. What does it feel like? You don't have to explain what it feels like, but just feel. What did it feel like to just do a simple sound and arms opening in the way that you wanted to or that you needed to? Deep breath in. Exhale, let it out. Tell your body, thank you. All right, next very simple thing is E. So we're going to do like the the standard E, which is once again legs nice and wide, hands like this, and you're going to go E, E. So essentially making sure that you have this going on and that you're feeling the stretching. You're stretching of your hips, of your yoni, of your pussy, of your ass, of your genitals, going like this, your energy going like this, your hands going like this, your arms, energy going to this like open, joyful, playful E. Okay? We're going to do this 2 times together, and then you're going to do it 3 times in the way that you need to, whatever ends up coming out for you. So first 2 times all together. Deep inhale. E. Good. Another time. E. Good, good, good. And so now do it 3 times in any way that you want, in any way that you need. And I invite you with this energy. It tends to be the energy of play that we can suppress. So if you feel like jumping up and down and wiggling and jiggling and shaking your ass and and rolling around or just doing it super high pitched or super low, whatever, just feel into that energy, feel into how it wants to come out of your body, but knowing it's also connected to the energy of play. So at your own timing, deep inhale. It's like whatever needs to happen, let it happen. And last time, you can have it be any way that you like it. E, E, E. Fantastic. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it out. We've gone through ah. Go ahead and let your mouth go. Ah. And we've gone through E. Let your mouth go. E. Now we're going to go to O. O. And the body movement for O is, once again, legs open nice and wide. Arms are going to go like this in a big open embrace. Curve your spine. Oh. Whoa. 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 And this is like really like honoring the, like the big, bear like, open, expansive, grounded, like, this like that energy. So 2 together, inhale, exhale. Oh, and make sure that it starts off deep. Now this is really interesting. This is a really interesting thing for like, for actually all people. For women or for women identified people, like, having something that's deep and guttural is like, ooh, is that okay? Is it okay for me to be deep and guttural? Is that not feminine? And for those who are like, masculine or masculine identified, male identified, it's like, oh, this is okay. Or it's like, or am I going to be scaring people away? But the thing is about what we're doing right now is just exploring that movement, that sensation in your body, that sound in your body, that, the power of that. Deep inhale in, let's do it together. Oh, the power of that. Like, what does that make you feel? What is happening to your body when you curve yourself into that space? How can you like just be in the self-acceptance of something that is so deeply deep, guttural, and also protected? So now we've done this 2 times. Go ahead and do it in your own time, your own voice. I'm going to like mute myself while I do it so that I don't interrupt or influence your expression. But I invite you to really just take this, when you're doing this movement, just really allow your legs to go into it, and like your pelvis and your arms and your throat and your head and your neck, and just allow this oh, who knows what happens with this, whether it is mourning, whether it is power, whether it is, whether it's deep expressing, right? Deep expression, I don't know what it is, but there's something that in this vowel sound, something so simple, allowing your body to also curve into that is some kind of some kind of medicine that that we often will not allow ourselves to go into fully because we're trying to make it look pretty. We're not trying to make anything look pretty. You're giving yourself permission, you're giving yourself chance to be in exploration and shameless self-expression, embodiment of yourself. So with O, go ahead and mute it. I'll let you do your thing 3 times. So mine were actually like kind of sorrowful. I mean, I will share them. One was like, oh, 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 oh. And then the other one was just like, oh. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it out. Feel your heart, feel your body. What are you noticing? Finally, we're going to do the vowel sound of ooh. Again, open your legs nice and wide. And the movement with this one is like you can do like this, but just like ooh. So with this one, it is making sure that you're connected to your hips, to your genitals. It's going to come from, you can either come from the head or from the heart. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Allow yourself to move your hips all the way from the heart or the head down, down, down. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Good. And so now you're going to do that. And so that's like really connecting to like this, like a primal yum, a primal, you know, it's a primal bliss, ecstasy, but like just like that really deep pleasure center. And we're going to do is three rounds of that. Allow it to move you where it needs to move. Allow it that ooh to like curve your lips and go through your throat and feel that ooh energy move through your entire body. And if it takes you down to the floor, let it take you down to the floor. If it takes you to standing, let it take you to standing. But just take a deep breath in. Exhale. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Deep breath in. Ooh, 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 ooh. And last time, deep breath in. Let out the ooh. Express it how it needs to be expressed. Good. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Let it out. So now I would normally do it. I actually normally would play music, but because I'm not sure about the, about the copyright, everything with the music, where I'm going to find some music. And what I will do is put your hand back on your heart. Put your hand back on your heart. And feel, remembering back that the place of shame that you had. Now that you've like gone through your body and touched your body, remembering that place in you. And what we're going to do is, right now I'm looking for some music I can play. What we're going to do is you're going to listen to the essential desire of expression that place in your that shame in your body in yourself wants to express. How does it want to do the ooh? Does it want to do the ah? Does it want to do the oh? Does it want to do the e? And just allow yourself to go into this movement, into this cacophony, and does it just really feeling the different parts of that story, the parts of the story of that shame around your life, around this around these certain areas. Really feel those parts of you, and ask yourself through movement, through sound, through voice, for that part of you to express. So I have I tried to find some music that could work with this, or maybe this part will get. I want to play something, so I'm gonna go ahead and just play this song, and hopefully it will be okay, and then we can we can get this last part muted if need be. So here we go. Let's do. It doesn't matter what the sound is. Let's do this one. Hopefully you can hear it.
Once upon a time, I was all alone. How you like me now? Do I turn you on? How I got you drunk, had you from the ball.
So what you're gonna do? So what you're going to do is you're going to just allow your body to move, do the ah, the oh, the e, the oohs with that part. Dance with that part of you. Be in stillness when it needs to be in stillness. Be in the ah, oh, ooh, e when it needs to be in all those different things. We're going to do this for this entire song. Dance with that part of yourself. Okay?
How you like me now? Do I turn you on?
Start off with the ah. Start off with the ah and let the ah, see if the ah needs to go fast, if it needs to go slow, if it needs to go softly. Just do your ah. Now try the O. Go to the O. feel into your E. How does your E, does your body, or does that part of your life, that part of your shame need to express E? Does it need to express playfulness? Does it need to like get it out? Do it fast, do it slow, do it open, do it closed. Explore the E. Try the ooh now. Get deep with your ooh, and then for the last minute of the song, just let your body express exactly how it needs to express. Okay. Good. Now, wherever you are, again, take a deep breath in. Put your hand to your heart, to that place right here, a place in your body, a place where you put that area of shame. And what we were doing is allowing our bodies to express freely, as free as we could, with acknowledging that part of ourselves. So as you're breathing and as you're feeling yourself, I'm going to that's better. As you're breathing and feeling yourself, I'm going to read to you something for you to consider as you are in this place of integration. So, shame is internalized suppression, oppression. It is a learned survival mechanism for living and functioning in a society that rejected itself. And so these things are meant to keep you in line to do the right thing. And shame will make us preemptively reject ourselves before society can point out our flaws and shortcomings. It's a silent killer that eats us away from the inside and feeding our fears. It distorts our view of ourselves and shapes how we think, feel, and act, and see the world and our place in it. And as a result, we will twist ourselves into unrecognizable positions to avoid associating with this source of shame. And so in this shame journey that we've been doing, part of how we dive into it is like we use this embodiment to the embodiment of self-love, the embodiment of shameless self-love is self-intimacy. So what we're doing right now after feeling our bodies is like to face it and lean in. So self-intimacy and facing and leaning in is when we took the thing that we have shame about and whispered it in our hands and looked at it. So how we face it and then lean in. The next part is the self-acceptance and embracing yourself. And so and self-acceptance is the act of just really being with what is. And so when we put it to our ears and listen to what you need, want, and feel, what this part of ourselves, what this shame part of ourselves needs, wants, and feels, that is the act of self-acceptance. This is because shame, it lives in the darkness, it lives in the shadows, and we have a choice to face the unknown and dance with the mysterious movements of our soul, or be swallowed by the darkness of stagnancy and loss. And so the reason why we moved with it, why I showed you these different oh, ah, e, ooh sounds, is to give us a place to, a way to dance with and be with our bodies, to be with this part of our shame. So that's step number 3. And finally, step number 4 is integration. So integrating to love yourself into wholeness. So now after having done these movements, done that dancing, it is an opportunity for us to just pause and to feel our bodies, to feel our heartbeats, to feel what this part of ourself now wants to say, now feels, and what it now needs. So go ahead and place your hand at your heart. And this part of yourself, listen from your heart. So we don't need to take it out and pull it up to our ear anymore, because it's right here. It's been dancing with us. We've been dancing with it. So it's going to put our hands to our heart and ask these questions. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it out. What do you need? Just feel your hands there. What do you need? What do you want? Listen, ask it and listen. What do you feel? And tell it thank you. Tell that part of yourself, thank you. Thank you for that message. Thank you for that journey. Thank you for the dance. Thank you for the movement. Thank you for going on that journey with me of your voice, of your movement, of our integrated expression. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to do a little bit more embodiment, a little bit more embodiment work.
And then, I'm going to teach you a poem. I'm going to teach you a poem, an embodied poem. And this is like more of to bring up, we're going to bring up the energy, like this, like, like this, loving acceptance of ourselves. And then our final thing is going to be like this really yummy, peaceful, softly integrating thing. So this is something else I have in the book. Let me see.
I'm so loving what you're teaching right now.
Yay. Okay.
So can I make a request?
Oh, absolutely.
That we pause here to
Absolutely.
invite you back.
Yeah.
So if you want more of Shawnree, you
Oh,
find her. It's all
I'm
good.
so sorry. I got off the time. Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We love going over, and we want more of you.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping me. I'm so sorry about that.
No. Don't. There's no sorries. Today I scheduled something that I need to drive half an hour for, or I would sit here and
Yeah. All good.
and I was also just like, oh, I love you and I want more, and I'm like,
Oh, you're so sweet.
and I was like, oh, how come I scheduled something?
My bad. Yeah.
And this is a great place for people, everyone who's like still listening and watching, are like, sorry, everyone. Well, which is a great, loving teaser to go find her on her website at shawnree.com and to find you, find your book. Because now I'm also like, how do I find time? Yeah, you can find it on Amazon and you can find it on our website. And I linked them in.
Totally.
And if you want to know your sensual intelligence type, you really should go to this next link that I just posted in. Yeah, I'm totally leaning in, and I'm like, oh my God, how do I spend time with you in person? Really very similar.
Yeah. Like when you were talking, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, just really quickly, but with the quiz, I know people don't have a lot of time. The quiz is super quick, and at the end, I email you a reading guide for your sensual intelligence type, which highlights certain chapters in the book. And so that means you can, you can read the book, you can read like your particular chapters in like 15 minutes instead of, I invite people to read the whole book, of course, but I also get it. And so if you do that, then you can be like, oh, here's a sensual poem that I suggest. And here's like a couple, probably 2 or 3 chapters in the book that I'm like, hey, get to know your type. Here's some things that you can really do to like, to nourish that part of you more. Yeah.
Will you forgive me?
No. Yeah. All good.
I've had so much fun with you today, and I was like, oh, see, you can find her there.
Thank you.
Oh no, I have to click it off. Oh, thank you so much, and you were wonderful, embodied, just stunning human. And I'm glad that we had you back on because we had some crunchy internet.
Oh my gosh, yeah, internet is like kaput.
And yeah, they were like, oh no, like Dawn was like, oh, and Scott emailed me, he was like, what happened? We have to go.
I know. Yeah, it was out for hours, like out of nowhere. So yeah.
You know what? Sometimes what I think is that, especially when it's deep work, the universe or the field or whatever you want to call it often gives us the chunks that we need in the moment. It just gives us enough to bite on so we can process it, and then we can lean back in. And I'm so happy to promote your book and your work, and I'm just so grateful that you're doing the sensuality work and the embodiment work. This is incredibly necessary. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you too. Thank you. So beautiful. Yay.
A big shout out. Yes, Randall, the internet cannot handle depth. It's true. It shakes some shit up and was like, ah! That's why you freeze. You're like, ah! Big shout out to Sign Network for running us out, and Global Peace Tribe, as well as The Awakening World and Scott Katamas. Thank you so much. We love you, and thank you for supporting us. And we will see you Thursday morning next week for something really wonderful. Check us out. Bye.
Bye.